Welcome to the NST Focus Podcast. I'm your host, Ken Kane, and today we're going to find out how musical magic is made, and we're going to do that with NST's music director, Mak Kastelic. How'd you get to this point in your career?
Oh, that's a steep question. I became associated with NST this time last spring when I came across a Facebook posting in a accompanist group of Portland that needed an emergency music director, and I just happened to have the time available in my schedule. And so I came the next day and have stuck around since. But up until then, I had been working in Portland for the past, I guess it was 10 years at that time, and working as a professional musician. And I've done everything from choir, I've done accompanying was really what I got started in. I've done a lot of musical theater around Portland. And I haven't really said no to a lot of projects over the years, so my experience has been really fruitful.
When did you first sense that music's going to be your calling?
Oh, that's a steep question too. I think I always kind of had a acclamation, I was always drawn to it. But my parents were a huge influence. They were the ones driving me to a lot of the choir rehearsals when I was growing up, and they were the ones that also took me to piano lessons when I was growing up. And it just kind of always stuck around. There was no second guessing if this was or wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. Yeah.
Are there any musicians you particularly admire or had a real influence on you as a kid growing up?
Oh boy, as a kid, I had a CD that had the greatest piano music of classical music, I think it was called, or something along that line, and I wore that CD out growing up. There was just something about it. There was some Mozart on there, but there was just something about the performances that always stuck with me. As I got into high school, I came across Dave Brubeck, and Dave Brubeck was a huge influence on me. And now as I'm older, I don't know, there's tons of artists that I listen to these days. Again, I don't say no to a lot. Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're the busiest musician in Portland. You've been the music director for many shows at many theaters in the Portland area. You play keyboards and guitar around town. I've heard you sing on stage. Tell us a little bit about this, and what besides NST have you got coming up? And tell me what I'm leaving out.
Well, my next show is going to be Assassins by Stephen Sondheim with Fuse Theater, and I'm really looking forward to that one. I think it's a great show to be doing in this political climate, and it's with a great theater company. If folks haven't heard of Fuse Theater, I definitely recommend checking them out. And again, I just have not said no to a lot of things. If there was a missing member of the orchestra where we needed guitar or you needed that extra voice, I was happy to jump in, and I've kind of been that utilitarian musician. Like, I'm ready to go with anything that I can offer. So if I can do it, I'm willing to offer that in a musical setting.
Is it tough being a full-time musician in Portland, especially if you're doing many things at once?
Yes. Yes, it is. Because it's mostly the driving. When I first moved here, I didn't have a car, but I realized if I wanted to do music full-time, I would have to have a gigging vehicle. So it's really to get from place to place that's the biggest hurdle, but to fill up one's time has really been a blessing. Not everybody has been as successful as I have been, at least in the peer group that I know. So it's been very fulfilling. Yeah.
What's a typical day look like for you? Or is there even such a thing?
No typical day. Yeah, I think the NST days are actually my most regular days right now because there's a structure of we meet on Mondays and Wednesdays. But with rehearsals on a show that I'm working in the evening, it can change. Every 7 weeks there's something different, and every show has different needs, so it depends on what needs to be practiced on that day or prepared for the evening rehearsals. But I'm also teaching lessons in the afternoons. I teach at Resound Northwest, which is in Goose Hollow, but I also have private students that I've had since they were 4 years old, and now they're teenagers, so I keep up with them too. So it can really change based on the day.
So you're mentioning age. It leads right into this question. NST performers are, by definition, age 55 and older. Mm-hmm. Some are much older. Mm-hmm. But you are not. What are you? Are you in your 30s?
Mid-30s, yeah.
So what's it like working with and coaching people who are twice your age and maybe twice as opinionated as you.
I think it's a blast. My wife and I are both only children, so we feel like we've had kind of a leg up on dealing with older folks our entire lives, which gives us kind of the humorous disposition to take things as they come and slough off what we don't need. But I love working with big personalities like that, and I think that we've struck a good balance here at NST with that. Yeah.
So what are your goals and expectations for a group of amateur older performers like us?
Have fun. I think it's great that there's a mix in NST specifically of folks who have not done anything with performative like this in their lives or nothing creative. Some have never sung before, and then there are folks that have done literally over 100 shows. So it's a great mix of creators who just are getting together to do what they want to do that's fun, and I think that's great. So as much support as I can give to that venture, the better.
So let's go to the other end of the age spectrum. I know you've worked in the past with the Oregon Children's Theater. So what are the challenges dealing with kids, and what are the comparisons you can make to working with people who could be those kids' grandparents?
Sure. I love working with kids. They bring a unique energy, just like older adults bring unique energy, and there's a lot of crossover there. There's a lot of, I think, just general excitement to be doing something fun that everybody can align with. Yeah.
You've been rehearsing the current NST show for a little over a month. That's as we record this. So tell us, how is Battle of the Bandstands sounding so far to you?
It's great. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun show. I think the group numbers that we've lined out to have 4-part harmony, which is something that NST, that's a challenge for them. But I think we're gonna come through all right with this. The solos are sounding good. The band is going to sound great once we bring in. We have an accordion player coming in for this show. So this will be my first time that we've had 4 musicians on stage for this, which will be fun. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
You're used to dealing with way more than 4 musicians on stage, though. Some of your productions involve 9, 10 musicians on stage?
Mm-hmm. I have a kind of a private project that I also work with Kimo Kamat on, and we're 9 people strong now. We started with Kimo as our soloist. We have 3 backup singers, and then a rock quartet, bass, guitar, drums, and piano, me on keyboards. And then we added a saxophone player in the last 2 shows, and so we're keeping that our core group right now. Yeah.
If there was one thing that you could wave a magical musical wand and, I don't want to say improve, but let's say improve among NST, what would it be?
Ooh, what would I improve among NST? I think I would love to see NST in an actual theater space, is all. I think that's really, because, Rise Church definitely suits the needs, and theater people are experts at making anything work in any given situation, but there's just something about a theater space that's set up for that type of rehearsal that I just wish we had. I wish we had mirrors, I wish we had a nice dance floor, and we're able to just, work in a black box sort of a space. But, until then, we'll make do with what we can.
Oh, you just came too late to us, because we were at Alpenrose Opera House for years.
Really?
For years.
Okay.
Talk about a black box. Both on stage and in rehearsal, you're prone to playing barefoot. What's up with that?
I get that question a lot. I think that has mostly to play into my family. I come from a long line of barefooted wild women. Yeah, and so my great-grandmother was barefooted, my grandmother's barefooted, my mom was barefooted, and so I think I just continue that tradition. But it goes into a little bit of my feral nature, because I love to be outdoors, and when I'm outdoors, I also just don't wear shoes. Yeah, it's hard for me to be in socks and shoes all day long. Yeah.
We should ask what you do when you're not doing music. And I think a lot of it has to do with outdoors, but tell us.
I love to get outside as much as I can. I especially love getting out to Tillamook County right now, and I love being on that part of the coast. A few years ago, I did some ranger work out there, and I loved it. I really fell in love with the landscape and the people out there, so I try to get out there as much as I can. Yeah.
Joanne Castle was Lawrence Welk's very blonde, very honky-tonk piano player. I've heard a rumor she may make an appearance during the NST show. What can you tell us about that?
Well, to go back to your question of pianists or musicians that might have had an influence on me when I was younger, I know that when we as a family would come back from church was 5 to 6 on Saturdays, and by 6 o'clock, 6:15, we had dinner on the table and we're watching Lawrence Welk until 7 o'clock. And when Joanne Castle would come on, I would get very, very excited. There's just something about her performance and the way that she just stares right at the camera that it was just so endearing, while also being an incredible piano player. With the bedazzled pianos, there's just something so attractive and cool about that. But beyond that, I don't really know what she has to do with this show in particular. That's just a fun fact from my childhood that I'm sharing with you.
Well, if there is to be anything with Joanne, you're just going to have to come and watch our show. It is coming up May 7th through 10th at 2 p.m. at Rise Church in Tigard. And we're working hard on this thing. So I hope you come, and I hope you enjoy what Mac is doing, what the cast is doing, what Lennon, our director, is doing, what everybody's doing, what Patrick behind the camera is doing right now. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Mac, thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
And we'll see you next time on the NST Focus podcast.